بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين، إمامنا وسيدنا الحجة بن الحسن المهدي، أرواح العالمين له الفدا. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We continue our examination, our journey in examining Dua Kumayl, this beautiful supplication that has been passed down to us by the commander of the faithful, by the symbol of ibadah and worship, Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi alayhi. The Imam alayhi salam, in this passage that we will briefly examine, he states, in expressing how a person should supplicate to Allah, in what state should you supplicate to Allah? He says, Allahumma wa as'aluka su'ala man ishtaddat faqatuh wa anzala bika 'inda ash-shada'idi hajatah wa 'azama fima 'indaka raghbatuh. He says, Oh Allah, I supplicate to you, I beseech you, I implore you, I beg you. How? In which state? In the state of someone who feels desperate, someone who is in need. One of the conditions to having your dua answered is how you supplicate. Sometimes we supplicate, Allah does not answer our prayers, or we think Allah is not answering our prayers. You know why? One reason is because when we ask, we don't feel desperate. One of the conditions of having your dua answered is to feel that desperation, that need. Allah refers to that in the Holy Quran. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah An-Naml, He says, أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ. We read this dua in our majalis, right? This verse. But what does it mean? Who is the one who relieves the distressed, the one who's stuck? When you supplicate to Allah, feel in need. Feel that you're stuck and He's the only one who can help you. Oftentimes in the back of our mind, we have our hopes in this dunya, in this world, in that person, in this amount of money, in this position of power. Usually we have our hopes in these means. The one who supplicates to Allah must supplicate such that you truly believe only He can help you. Yes, Allah has means. He will use resources to help you. He will use people to help you. But in the end, He's in charge. Do you really feel Allah is in charge when you supplicate to Him? Or in the back of your mind, you have alternatives. No, I can depend maybe on my money. Maybe if I can get this job is going to help me. Habibi, no job can help you if Allah is not going to help you. No amount of money is going to help you if God is not going to help you. Feel that desperation. Feel that need. There's one objection here that some people have. They say, why is it that in our dua, in the religion of Islam, God wants us to feel in need? This is a type of psychological humiliation, where God keeps telling the human being, you're in need, you're in need, you're in need. This is like God hitting us on the head. Psychological humiliation, right? Some people make this objection. How do you respond to that? There are three primary reasons why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to feel in need. First of all, when we are in need, look at the object of your need. You're in need to who? To the source of goodness. Is that humiliation? If you're in need to Allah and He's the source of goodness in the universe, He's the source of power, He's the source of generosity, He's the source of mercy, is that humiliation? Yes, if you're in need to someone who's cruel, that's humiliation. That's why one of the good prayers to make, one of the beautiful du'as to make, إِلَهِي لَا تُحْوِجْنِي إِلَى لِآمِ خَلْقِكَ Oh Allah, never make me in need to someone who's wretched, someone who's evil, someone who has no humanity in his heart, who's going to take advantage of me. Don't make me in need to them. There is no dua in which you say, Allah, don't make me in need of anyone or anything. There's no such dua. Because you have to be in need of others in society. That's how Allah created this life. So you're in need to the source of goodness. There's no humiliation involved. That's number one. Number two, we human beings, we have the tendency to become arrogant. When do we feel arrogant? When we feel we're not in need. Allah mentions this in Surah Al-Alaq. إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَيَطْغَى. When does the human being become arrogant? When? أَنْ رَآهُ اسْتَغْنَى. When he feels, خلاص, I got it all, I'm not in need. The minute the human being feels he's not in need, he becomes a dictator. He becomes a tyrant. He becomes arrogant. It's good for us to feel in need. That's a way that guarantees us from oppression. It keeps us away from injustice. That's number two. Number three, when you feel in need to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will use the resources that He's given you the right way. Because when I don't feel in need, I start doing whatever my desires dictate to me. Whatever I want. I don't care. I feel powerful. But when I feel in need, I'm reminded, look, you're weak. You're in need. Don't misuse this. Because if you truly realize that you're in need, you'll realize that there will be a day where you'll be held accountable. So it's not psychologically humiliating for the human being to be in need. In fact, it's necessary for our psychological well-being. It's necessary for us to function properly. And Allah created you in need. Since you were an infant, you were in need. Because Allah is teaching you, don't become arrogant. Realize that I am the source of all goodness. In a beautiful Hadith Qudsi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, Hadith Qudsi is a narration in which the Prophet directly quotes Allah. The words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that are not in the Quran, we call them Hadith Qudsi. In this Hadith Qudsi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically says to us, where are you going, you human beings, when you're in need? Don't you know that I am in charge? Don't you know that the dunya and the akhirah is in my hands? Don't you know that I give you without you asking me? Imagine if you ask me how much I give you. How many blessings has Allah given you when you never asked for them? How many? Count them. Thousands of blessings, physical blessings, spiritual blessings. Allah has given you, you never really asked for it. Look at your body part and how it functions. And the trillions of atoms and cells you have in your body. And the body parts in your body. Did you ever ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that? Your spleen. Do you know what a spleen is? Do you know what it does? Have you ever asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you such a body part so you can function? We don't even know what's happening in our body. Allah has given you billions of blessings. When you never asked Him, Allah says, I'm that generous. I give even when you don't ask me. So realize that if you ask me, I'll give you more. But you have to be patient because Allah gives you what's good for you. So feel that desperation. أَمَّنْ يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرِ. Muضطar in Arabic means the one who's distressed, the one who's stuck. When you ask Allah, realize that He's in charge. In the end, He decides whether I will be saved or not. My problem will be solved or not. With that belief, this hastens our dua being answered. One hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, in giving us a deeper meaning to this verse, أَمَّنْ يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرِ in Surah An-Naml, the Imam alayhi salam says this is in reference to Al-Imam Al-Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajah. When he rises بَيْنَ الرُّكْنِ وَالْمَقَامِ by the Kaaba, he will supplicate, he will offer a 2 rak'ah, and he will beg Allah, oh Allah, give me permission to leave. And that night Allah will give him permission to lead his global revolution. Many scholars have commented, they have stated that when will Allah allow the Mahdi to spread global justice? There are many factors, but one factor is when the human beings feel iftirar, when the human beings feel in desperate need. Today, we don't feel in need. Look at the people today, 7 billion people on earth. We think we can figure everything out. We can establish justice. We know how to implement human rights. You see the arrogance that we have? We can figure it out all. We don't need God. We don't need His representatives. Well, the hadith says the world one day will come to a conclusion, to a realization that only God and His representatives can save us. No one else can save us. Once humanity begins to feel that desperation, and they humble themselves, oh God, we really need your help. Once humanity comes to that realization, the hadith says Allah will allow Al-Mahdi to come out. Keep that in mind. That when you look at global events, truly feel in your heart, oh Allah, only you can help us. Only by sending the Imam of our time. Yes, we do our part, but in the end, he's the object of our hope. Allahumma wa as'aluka su'ala man ishtaddat faqatuh. وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. Oh Allah, what you have for me is what I am looking for. This dunya, this world, is not what I'm looking for, because I know this will all end. The position with you, you being satisfied with me, what you have prepared for me in the akhirah, that's what I am looking for. وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك. Oh Allah, your kingdom is so vast. Your position is so high. وخفي مكرك. Let's end with this phrase here. What does makr mean in Arabic? Makr, when you use it for human beings, it has a negative meaning. It has a negative connotation. It means deceit. Where you come up with a scheme to fool others. That's considered makr. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He is khayrul makirin. He's the best of what? Deceivers? Allah doesn't deceive. So what does this mean with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This means when you try to deceive others, when you try to hurt others, inflict harm on others, Allah will get you back. That's the meaning of makr with Allah. But Imam Ali says in Dua Kumayl, khafiya makruk. How Allah will get you back is not apparent. Allah finds ways to get you back. Don't think you can get away with your crimes. It could take 20 years. Allah will find a way to get you back. What goes around comes around, right? There was a man in Turkey, this is decades ago. There was an incident of crime. And the judge had made an order that we need to find the criminal. And the Sultan was under pressure at the Sultan's time. So they told him, look, we could not find the criminal. Everyone was talking about this crime. How weak is this government? How come they cannot find the criminal? So the Sultan, he said to the police, to the guards, they're like, look, if the deadline comes and we couldn't find the criminal, just go to the street, as they say, Hayyallah, get someone from the street and accuse him of the crime. Let's execute him and let's get this over with. We'll announce in the news that, you know what? We've got the criminal. Calm down, people. They searched and searched. They couldn't find the criminal. So the guards, when the deadline came, they went to the street. They just saw a random person on the street. They arrested him. Why are you arresting me? What have I done? They said, it's none of your business. This is the order of the king. They took him to the court. They presented him to the judge. And they told the judge, this is the criminal. The judge says, yes, this is a criminal. I passed the death sentence. Let's execute him. He started crying. Then he said to the judge, look, I accept. You can execute me. But I just want to say one thing. They told him what? He told him, judge, Salaam alaikum wa rahmatullah. He told him, judge, I am not a criminal in this case. And you know I'm innocent. They just took me off the street. But I deserve to be killed. I deserve the death punishment. He told him why. He told him 20 years ago, I had a small boat in a nearby place. I would transport people from this side of the river to the other side of the river. One day a woman came with an infant in her arms, 20 years ago. And she gave me some money. She told me, can you take me to the other side? I said, yes. I took her to the other side. He said, on the way, I realized that I am alone with this woman. No one's watching us, no guards, nobody. So the devil played with my head and my intentions, and I raped her. She told me, look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching. Don't think you can get away from this. Now he feared that she's going to go and tell the authorities after he committed this crime. So he ended up killing her. Yes, these crimes happen, my dear brothers and sisters. Sometimes the shaitan, when you feel stuck with a sin, he makes you fall into a greater sin. He killed her. And of course, there was no one to witness that. The lady went missing. Her and her infant. They went missing for 20 years. No one knows what happened. He told the judge, today Allah got me back. I'm innocent today in this crime. But Allah got me back for 20 years. For 20 years ago, I committed that crime. Don't think you can get away with it. Even here in this dunya and before the akhirah. And that's a lesson for us. The Imam says, Allah, believe me, if you think you're slick, Allah has slicker ways of getting you back. Even a single dime, single dollar that you unjustly take from your partner, from your business partner, from your spouse, from your friend, Allah will get that from you. Don't think you can get away with it. And I end with this short incident that's really also effective in letting us know that when we treat others in a certain way, it will come back to haunt us. One of the respected scholars, I heard this story from him. He says, I was in Kuwait one day, I was looking outside the window into the street from my apartment. He said, I saw a young man, maybe about 17, 18, teenager. He was arguing with his father. As he was arguing with his father, he became very disrespectful and loud until he lost his temper, the young man. He raised his hand and he slapped his father. He said, I couldn't take it anymore. I got so angry. I came running down from my apartment, chasing after that young man to stop him. This is ridiculous. You slap your father like that? He said, well, obviously the young man was faster than me, so he couldn't catch up to him. He said, I went to the father, I saw him crying. I wanted to comfort him, console him. You know, I told him, youth these days, they don't know how to respect their parents. Have patience. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fix this situation for you. He told me, no, that's not why I'm crying. Not because my son slapped me now and I'm hurt. He said, then why are you crying? He said, 20 years ago, in this same exact place, I got into an argument with my father and I slapped him. And now I remembered that scene. 20 years later, my son did the same thing to me. And we have many narrations about that, subhanAllah. Be good to your parents, Allah will give you good children. Neglect your parents, you might be neglected. وَخَفِيَ مَكْرُوكَ وَظَهَرَ أَمْرُكَ وَجَرَتْ قُدْرَتُكَ وَلَا يُمْكِنُ الْفِرَارُ مِنْ حُكُومَتِكَ. No one can run away from the kingdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who can? When everything is in His hands. We ask Allah to illuminate our hearts. We ask Allah to take these words of Imam Ali alayhi salam from Nahj al-Balagha and truly illuminate the path for us. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.